American Metal Roofs is the leader in metal roofing across the United States, located right here in Michigan. First of all, I was trained as a physician and decided I did not want to practice as a physician, and had a friend that was in the home improvement business in the window industry. And so I joined him, started selling windows, and then started growing a sales organization. Back in the late 90s, we started seeing that asphalt roofs were failing very rapidly. So we felt there had to be a solution. When we started looking, we started seeing products that had been out already 50, 60 years, 70 years in the commercial industry that could be adapted towards residential, so that homes could get away from having temporary roofs and act more like homes in Europe that put permanent roofs on.
Welcome back. This is Hire It Done. My name's Adam Helfman. I've got Erica Harper in studio with me this morning.
Good morning again.
Legend of the home improvement business, Frank Farmer, American Metal Roofs. Welcome back, Frank.
Thank you.
Now, you can't call everyone a legend. Hall of Fame, what's the best way? Tell everyone why. Let's be humble for a second, but let's tell everyone, because this is really an honor for you to be here for me. Thank you, by the way.
You're welcome. Reality is, I guess I did some things to change the industry.
Okay.
Is the best way that I can put it. And the home improvement and remodeling industry and Home Builders Association, they hand out an award called the Legend. And I happened to be one of the recipients who flew out to Baltimore and was honored. And
it's nationwide.
Nationwide. And so far in the history, they've given out 38. And it's really for the work that we've done, the integrity we've brought to this industry, and what we've done with permanent roofing and educating the consumer, and the impact on the overall home improvement industry in the United States.
Okay, so American Metal Roofs, and it's AmericanMetalRoofs.com.
Yes.
Is the website. It's strictly what you do is metal roofs.
Everything from attic up, let's just say.
Okay.
In other words, we have to solve some problems in the attic with ventilation so that the roof can last. It doesn't do any good to put a permanent roof on a structure that isn't permanent. We have to make it permanent.
So there's a lot of things that you do when you put on a metal roof.
Absolutely.
But do you encapsulate that as part of the roofing process? So you wouldn't just go and change somebody's insulation or ventilation without putting on a roof?
You know what? If it meant we go there with the intentions of helping that consumer.
Okay.
And yes, we have gone in and they didn't need a metal roof.
Okay.
You know, they for instance, we get a lot of calls from people and they want to buy a metal roof because they don't want ice problems on the roof. Well, the roofing material doesn't cause ice. What causes ice is heat buildup in the attic that melts the snow on the roof, that it runs down to the edge of the roof and refreezes. So many times we go in and all they do need is some insulation, or the venting on the eave where the air comes in needs to be opened, or the ridge vent. Most ridge vents are very, very ineffective and cause all kinds of problems. But we can share with them high-performance vents. So occasionally we'll actually fix some problems where people really think they need a roof. And they don't need a roof.
Okay.
Speaking of that, homeowners listening to this today and they're like, oh my God, I got to get a metal roof. Let's profile the perfect homeowner that should get a metal roof.
Okay, let's do that. First of all, if you take a look at our customers generally are in the last home that they're going to be in.
Okay.
Okay. The demographics are they're getting ready to retire. They are definitely 55, 60 years old and over. My oldest customer is 93. It's for people who have buildings that they care about. They're going to leave to family. It's for homeowners that want to travel. They know that they're going to stay in this house. So at 60 years old, they put a permanent roof on and they want to be able to go to Florida and not watch the weather. It's for people who have problems that with their roof, they have that ice. They know us as experts, and we come in and the roof is getting to its end, and they decide, okay, let's just do the whole thing and let's get rid of these problems forever. You've got Mrs. Smith. She doesn't want Bob up on the roof anymore, and he's 61. Let's be real, he's the meal ticket and maybe not real stable on his feet anymore and doesn't okay, but he's up there shoveling roofs. Come on. Okay.
It happens.
Yeah, it does, and they fall off.
16,000 people a year go to the emergency room just from falling off a ladder doing something on a roof.
Oh, I believe it. We hear it all the time. I just had a guy tell me that he came off and jammed his shoulder and he's having surgery. It wasn't very far, 8-10 foot fall.
Yeah, and that's where the most damage happens.
And that's a mild injury. You could be much more severely injured falling off a ladder.
Yeah, we don't want to be fear mongers, but
I mean, but it's possible.
no,
you know.
it's serious because they go up there to solve a problem. They're not used to walking on a roof,
And that's the thing is, people don't do that on a regular basis now.
exactly. And generally, it's that customer who hasn't been on ladders a lot. They start getting up in age, and all of a sudden they're pulling a ladder out, and they're 60 years old, and they're going to go up and do some work or go up and see why that shingle's missing. Come on, that doesn't work good. Okay, so we solve problems. We make sure they never go up there. We make sure that the house is ventilating. We make sure that snow's sliding off the roof. It's so nice. I can remember when I put my metal roof on my house. I'm sitting in there and I hear this thunderous. I mean, it shakes the first time you hear it as you get 10, 12 inches of snow sliding off your roof. It sounds like a train coming through your house, and you hit the ground. You're not used to it. It's funny. It's really funny when somebody comes to visit and they get to hear it for the first time, right?
Right.
But you get used to it. So it's a good sound. But I'm there having a cup of coffee, looking across the street, and my neighbor's out fighting with 10, 12 inches of snow in there, trying to get rid of it so he doesn't get ice.
Right.
And I'm enjoying a cup of coffee watching him.
And that's the best part about that.
Yes.
So does a metal roof, how long does it take to install a typical metal roof? Is it a couple days, or is it depending?
Houses are different. If it takes a day to put an asphalt roof on, it's going to take 3 or 4 days, maybe even 5 to do a metal roof, because you're not using a bunch of tar or caulk. You're handcrafting pieces of metal and bending them and fitting them to form to the house.
So it's that specific for that house.
These are craftsmen, and everybody that we have is an employee, no subcontractors. These people are trained from the ground up. The very first guy I hired was probably one of the best coppersmiths in the state of Michigan because I needed his skills, and that's where we started the company.
Which makes perfect sense. So if someone says, okay, metal roof, I know standing seam, but are there options? Like cedar shake. We love that look.
Yes. When we've done a lot of educating over the last 20 years, but most of the time when we walk into somebody's house, their hands start going up and down. They want them. I've seen this metal roof, and we ask them some questions. What are you looking for? Well, I was just out west, and I seen this beautiful roof, and they always talk about color, and their hands go up and down like they're vertical panels. Metal roofs are way more than that. Here's the challenge. Metal roofs are so beautiful that you cannot recognize them when you're going down the street. You think somebody has a beautiful, like you mentioned, cedar shake roof, or they got a beautiful slate roof, or a beautiful tile roof, and you blew right by it. It wasn't that at all. It was a metal roof, and they have the variety of finishes and energy efficiency. It's absolutely incredible. It's as the old commercial said, it's not your dad's roof anymore.
So does a metal roof go over existing asphalt, or is it you tear it off, or does it depend on the condition of where you're at?
These roofs are made to go on over their existing asphalt unless we've got problems that are underneath. Okay. So many times we can go, if they just have an eave problem, we can tear the shingles off the eave and replace wood and build that back up and not have to go through the expense. Because it's very expensive these days, tear a roof off, throw it away in the dumpster, and fill the landfills up. Okay.
Yes.
So depending on the situation, but they're made to go over. Standing seam should almost always have the roof torn off because that's a flat panel. These other ones, you gain nothing. It doesn't change warranty on them, doesn't change nothing by tearing the roof off.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
So am I thinking about this right, where a certain part of the roof would kind of float above the existing structure and there would be some framing members or something underneath to hold it up? And if that is the case, then how do you know where you can walk on it if you need to go up there?
So that, what you're describing, and it's very common when people see that they're putting 1x3 slats on a roof, okay? And then the metal roof floats on top of that. That is not a good way to install a roof. Okay, because metal roofs will condensate moisture, and the moisture then runs down to that wood. Now we have wood and water together, rotting, and it's, when do you see the problem? 10, 12 years later.
Oh, yeah, because it's underneath the roof, right?
You don't see it.
Right.
When do most contractors' warranties end?
Oh, about the same time, I would imagine.
In the metal roof industry, 1 to 3 years.
Okay.
And American Metal Roof is forever, so I have to make sure that they're not going to pay nothing forever. I've got to make sure it's done right because it's on my dollar. So the metal roofs that are put on, the ones, for instance, the one that looks like cedar shake will go on, and it is a little bit hollow that's underneath. Okay, so you're going to walk at the top side of that panel that lays flat on the wood. However, if we have an area that we traffic, such as going up to a skylight, going up to a wall, going over to a chimney, those are foam filled. so that they don't even have to be careful where they walk. Okay,
And then you know where they're
idiot-proof
at.
it. Yes, we give you a little map to show you where it's at. But you know what? Here's the thing: they're really never going on the roof.
Ideally, right?
Ideally. Yeah. So they have to go up there in 15 years to replace a skylight. The contractor going up there is going to know exactly where he's solid.
Cool.
They're not going to damage it. We just don't.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Total sense. AmericanMetalRoofs.com is the website if people want more information. If they want to contact you directly, Frank F. at AmericanMetalRoofs.com.
And I welcome the emails. I really do. Frank F. at American Metal Roofs. You have a problem, email me. Okay? You want to know if a metal roof's right for you? Email me. I'll help you.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and I want to talk about something that we've talked about recently that most people try not to. Fake metal roofs.
Yeah. There's a lot of them out there.
I mean, I've heard of fake Gucci, but fake metal roofs? We're going to talk about that when we come back. I'm Adam Helfman. You're listening to the Hire It Done Radio Network. Welcome back. This is Hire It Done. I'm Adam Helfman. We're talking Metal Roofs 101. We've got legend Frank Farmer from American Metal Roofs. You hear the commercials. You see them everywhere. They actually, I'm going to say it, you invented the category legitimately for home improvement. I got to say, because
we brought metal roofing to Michigan, definitely, 100%.
Yeah, and kudos to you for being so successful.
Thank you.
I've talked to some of your homeowners in the past, and you know, it's hard to get someone excited about a roof. But when I ask them, you can feel the energy coming out of them when they get it. Oh, it's the best thing we ever did.
Yeah.
And so
they always say this. As a matter of fact, we went back and did some interviews with customers that had for 17 years. And that was a dream of mine when I started the company, was to be able to go back and talk to people 15, 20 years from now, or meet them in Myers, not hide behind cornflakes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I went back, and they all say this, Adam. They all say, I asked them this question: what did you think when you seen the price of an American Metal roof? And they all said, oh, I about passed out.
Right.
Okay. Because it's more. Permanent roofs cost more. And I asked him, would you do it again? Oh, in a heartbeat. Best thing I ever did. One guy, it still looks brand new.
That's the best part. It's the last roof you ever buy.
Yes. Still looks brand new. I challenge your homeowners this. Go out and look at your asphalt roof that's 5 years old. How proud are you? Yeah, they're proud of ownership. Geez, you know, when your roof starts looking crappy, I wonder what your neighbors think. Maybe you don't. Maybe it doesn't matter to you. But you know what? Everybody's going down and they take a look, and you see you got this black streaks run down. You got shingles curling up on there. With the reason that the homeowners told you they love their American Metal roof is because people are always commenting. They if they're outside in the yard, somebody's walking down there, they look up and they say, beautiful roof. They don't say, nice yard, beautiful roof. It's half what you see.
It's very true. Now, if someone wants to sell a house that has a metal roof on
Yes.
it, is the house worth more?
Yes, it is. It's
And that's a fact.
It is a fact. And in Michigan, you know, when we say this, people say, well, this is Michigan. It won't. But I got to think about this. If you're out looking for a brand new house, and they both, let's say they're $200,000 houses, okay? And one guy wants $220,000 for his because he's got a permanent roof, and you're never going to put another roof on that house. And the other guy wants $200,000. You want to know something? 20,000 isn't no, you're stepping to the plate because you understand the value of that American Metal roof, and the energy savings that American Metal will pay for itself for that little bit that you're adding on. Tremendous value.
So when you just mentioned real quick energy saving,
Yes.
homeowner doesn't realize, you know, okay, the first thing they get a new roof, I just don't want it to leak. I don't want to have to worry about maintenance. When you say energy savings, we're talking about a serious impact.
I'm talking about significant amount of money because homeowners, what they do, let's say they spend in a year $2,000 on utility. They think over 10 years that they're going to spend $20,000. No, they forgot the inflation factor.
Right.
Yeah, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000.
Every dollar of that.
Yes. A metal roof will save you, well, everybody's going to be different, but it blocks 34% of the heat coming into a house. Okay? So if it doesn't come in, you don't have to air condition it. Now, what saves them heating dollars is when we fix the ventilation.
Correct.
And I dry out their insulation.
So
And
I'm sorry, I
Yes.
don't want to interrupt, but I do have a question because you've talked about energy savings, and you have also talked about you know, the aesthetic beauty of the roof, you know, staying in place over time. But that doesn't happen with all metal roofs. So earlier, Adam was talking about fake metal roofs.
Yes.
I'm assuming there's some sort of difference in the materials people are putting on versus what you're putting on.
Yes.
And so I just wonder if you could talk about that for a little bit.
yes, I didn't coin that term. My customers coined that term.
Okay.
When we replaced their metal roof. Okay. A fake metal roof is when you buy a metal roof and you think that you have bought a permanent solution. You got a deal, you didn't get a good deal. In other words, they based their decision based upon price, didn't do the research, end up putting barn metal on their house. Or they hired the contractor who was inexperienced, and he may have put a decent product on there, but the installation was so bad you had to rip it off.
Okay.
Okay. And we just recently met with a homeowner, had the roof on, I think 6 years, and it was a decent product. It wasn't a great product, but it was decent. They should have had good 30, 40 year, 50 year life out of it. And the roof got ripped off and thrown in the garbage.
Oh,
And
no.
and you know, you see the signs on the side of the road that says metal cheaper than asphalt. Well, that's not true. That's a come on for barn metal folks to come out.
So talk about the difference between barn metal and the metal that
Got
you
it.
use to
barn,
put a
barn
lifetime
metal
roof
will
on.
be sheets of metal just like you see out in agricultural areas, and they poke thousands of holes in it by running screws in from the top side. Okay? Those rely on rubber grommets around those screws. They dry rot out, and they leak.
Is it thinner as well?
You know, that part doesn't really matter.
Okay.
The thickness of it, and people always say, "Oh, I want a thick one." It doesn't matter. Especially when you're looking at roofs that are metal roofs that are designed for homes, they're all designed to withstand at least 110 mile an hour in wind, and that's when you want the thickness for it. Okay, so a permanent metal roof is what we call a hidden fastener roof. You'll look at it, you won't see any fasteners.
Okay.
That's the best part. And I know when the metal roofs that you were talking about that are the barn metal, that when they drill through,
Yes.
when that grommet shrinks and they have to they have to replace them.
Yes.
They have to go
supposed
the bigger.
Yeah,
right?
they're supposed to every 5 years replace all the screws on a roof. That's
There's
normal.
thousands
That's
of them.
normal maintenance
Never
if you don't want
happening.
it. You see, when a barn metal roof leaks on your pig's head, he just moves over or lets it leak.
Yeah.
You know, don't park your tractor underneath that drip. Barns leak. That's what they're made to do.
Yeah.
Right.
But don't have that water coming into your insulation. The problem is people don't see the leaks from their screw-through metal roofs right away. Like we said earlier in the show, that leaks that you generally there a year or longer before it works its way through, and the attic fills up with mold.
Well, if you have the proper amount of insulation, let's say, code is R49, we always recommend R60, but just think about how thick that is.
It's
and
a
if
sponge.
it's just drip, 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 very slowly, it's going to take a really long time to get to the drywall on the ceiling and then get through that board, and there's paper on that board, so it's going to take even longer to appear.
Yeah, but think about this. The leak is the insignificant part. Okay. Yeah. So even if you had to replace some drywall or repaint, it's a big deal. Okay. $1,000, no big deal. Okay. The real challenge is this: you get that water inside that attic in the summertime because it just doesn't go away.
Right.
Okay.
No,
The ventilation is not working well. It's not drying out. It starts to heat up. You've got wood. You've got mold, and water. You have a nightmare.
Well, I would say even if your ventilation is great, it's not made to evaporate that kind of water.
Yeah. Not at all.
That's where the problem comes.
Yes.
So people who advertise barn metal or a less expensive metal roof, you have to be leery of that.
It has been outlawed in many cities, and it will be outlawed on all homes across the United States someday. Okay.
Okay. And that's the thing.
People are not educated, and here in Michigan, about 3 to 4%, maybe 5% of the homes getting roofed right now are in metal. Nationwide, it's at 13%.
Yeah, the metal roofing is huge down south, out west. I see it all
Well,
the
there's
time.
whole neighborhoods that are between 30 and 50% metal. We are behind the 8 ball here in Michigan because we just woke up from a recession here the last few years.
Really? I'm tired. Take a nap. Let me ask you this. We talk about metal. We talk about fake metal. I see a trend towards solar. Is your roofs that you do, is it help solar? Is it solar ready? What can we, because I would think just common sense says if I have a metal roof, I'm better equipped for solar than I would if it was asphalt.
Right. We get a lot of calls from people because they're thinking ahead, and solar is going to take every home by storm. It is by the time we're all done. If you put a solar roof, solar panels on an asphalt roof, when that asphalt has to be replaced in 5, 7, 8, 10 years, then that whole solar system, that whole electrical system has to come off. That is an expensive proposition to have it taken off and then reinstalled on that house. Okay. American metal roofs come solar ready. All they've got to do is tell us they want to have solar. Those panels are ready, and literally the panels that are there are solid. And then we have adapters that go on the top to mount a universal system to mount solar panels on top. So it is the only solar ready roof. We are that far ahead of
Are you
the
familiar
industry.
with the Tesla roof? That is, I think it's vaporware. Never seen one, but have you?
Yes, I'm very familiar with the Tesla roof. You know, it's a fad. They've had some challenges. They took some deposits down. They had some advertising on YouTube where they were shooting ice balls at these glass-looking panels. The reality was they got stung because it was the panels were not real, exactly, and it was hokey pokey stuff. The reality is, and they were saying it costs the same as a typical roof. I don't know how many typical roofs cost $60,000 to $100,000, but that's a Tesla roof.
Okay, so there's where the issue is. So AmericanMetalRoofs.com. Someone says, "All right, I'm in the mood for roof. I'm in the market for a roof."
Yes.
What's the first thing you recommend anyone listening today do? Call, go to the website, have one of your representatives come out to the house. What is the best way?
Very best thing to do is get educated. They may call us when we say a metal roof isn't right for you. I don't want them to spend money they don't have to, okay? But they need to get educated, and they can do one of three things. One of two things, really. They can go to 844 Metal Roofs, or they can go to AmericanMetalRoofs.com, or I guess the third thing, they could email me personally, ask some questions. I want them to get educated. Our customers are well-educated people.
That's the best, and that's the key. The best educate. What did Cy Sim say? An educated consumer is the best customer?
Yes.
I agree. Cy knew what he was talking about.
Indeed.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure being here.
I got to tell you, thank you. This is an educational, and I love that. Thank you for much. I appreciate our business.
Thank you.
Well, that was another 2 hours, my friends. Thanks for tuning in. Next week, we have way more home improvement advice. You want a metal roof, go to AmericanMetalRoofs.com or go to HireItDone.com. I'm Adam Helfman. You're listening to the Hire It Done Radio Network.